Check 1, 2. Getting some things warmed up here. All right. Okay, I only have about 8 to 10 minutes to be online this morning, and I wanted to show you something really quick and right about that time frame. I don't have my guitar in my hand because I don't really need to play the guitar to show you this, I don't think. And what this is, as the title suggests, is a response to a video I saw yesterday, this really awesome video, not like a Simon Dan response to Flat Earthers or something, but that's what I was watching all morning. Anyways, the what I do have is this great video was on Jake from Signals Music Studio, which I strongly suggest, check his channel out if you want really well done videos and edited videos that have, I think, the most accessible topics for a beginner. He really goes out of his way to make explanations that I think a beginner can understand. Now, one thing that's important in these videos is to kind of keep them short. No one really watches an hour-long guitar video. It gets too long. So, but the problem is explaining music theory, it's a real challenge to get up, to simplify it all and to get it condensed down in a way people can understand at the same time. So he had a real challenge on his hands to do that, and I think he pulled it off excellently. But one part of the video, there was a part that was, I think he just simply had to get through it really fast without breaking it down into smaller chunks. I can totally understand that, and that's what I wanted to do today. I wanted to get to one of the points. Now, it would make a whole lot of sense if I could, excuse me, actually link you to his videos, to the exact video that we're talking about here, and by the time you watch this years down the road, that's going to be years old in his, so I can't even tell you his most recent video. So it's something right around this date in early 2019. And it was about borrowing chords using parallel modes. Well, I think there was more to it than parallel modes, but that was one of the big ways to borrow chords. And it was just excellent. It really, you'll get used to the diatonic scale and the music you can make with it, but then you'll realize, man, ever since Happy Birthday, everybody's been all over this scale. There's not much really new and exciting. You can make some great songs, but you're not going to make anything really stimulating and exciting just using the major scale. You probably could as a good artist and songwriter and stuff, but it's really cool to borrow chords and place them into your music. Watch his video if you can find it. I think it's something, maybe it's titled Borrowed Chords. Anyways, it really makes your chord progression sound great. So let's say you're convinced that borrowing chords is the jazz that you want to explore. During it, he showed that a very cool way to find these borrowable chords that will really work cool in your mix is to use parallel modes. Now, what is parallel modes? Parallel modes means taking the C major scale and thinking about its modes, like in the C Ionian scale, it'd be C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. We'll even write that out for you. So your standard, we're in C, so C, D, E, F, G, A, B, and it repeats. And each one of these has a modal name because it works like this. And this is a confusion I find on a lot of channels, and I don't really, this is not a criticism on Jake, but I don't see that he really explained it this way, and this is the way that I locked into modes. And every other way that was taught in a textbook manner is correct, but it doesn't get a beginner rolling on making music with modes, because it's the technical is not the music. So if you get familiar, you'll see how they both roll together. But anyways, here's a C major scale. If I play a D chord, okay, just the chord is happening while I play the C major scale, I'm going to have a Dorian sound without having to try a special scale or to manipulate the scale between the D and the D. That's the textbook definition If you ran in a scalar manner between D and D, that's the easiest way to say, well, that would be like saying Dorian, or that would be the concept of Dorian. But nobody sits there thinking about scales in between two notes. It just doesn't work like that. And if you get good at just knowing where all the notes are, they're all under your fingers, and you just start noodling around with your ear, and then it's connected to your soul, because, you know, your ear is what you want to hear. That's where your wants and desires, and that's where your music comes from. So anyways, long story short, it's about playing this. If I use this scale, but I play this chord, I'm in Dorian. If I play the E chord behind my solo is going to suddenly sound Phrygian. It may not sound so much if I originally started on C, because it's really the chord you start on. So let me rephrase that. If I start my chord, my E chord, E minor, by the way, we need to specify major and minor, and that's in the top line here. You'll know that if the C chord the Ionian chord is major, the Dorian is minor, Phrygian is minor, Phrygian, whatever, is minor, Lydian is major, Mixolydian is the 7 chord. If you don't know that, it's not very important today, but it is important to know later on in your music. The A for Aeolian is M. That's kind of a coincidence that A note of the C major scale falls on Aeolian. There's no, you don't have to, and D is for Dorian. You don't have to get confused like, well, why is A now something else? It's not locked into these letters. It's just the order by which these modes come from these chords. If you make this chord, it's a minor chord. Notice these minor chords, you'll always see this, 1, 2, the note is on 1, 2, 3 squares away. On a major chord, it's always 1, 2, 3, 4. So here's a major, 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm sorry, 1, 2, 3, 4 squares away, you'll have the 5. 1, 2, 3. Okay, what the hell just happened there? Something just fucked up. Anyways, the F is the same thing, like C, D, E, F, G, A, same thing. And when I review this, I'll see what mistake I made there. But whatever, not a big deal. Anyways, we need to get past that. 'Cause, by the way, I only have about 10 minutes to be live today. So it'll be a nice, quick, easy video. So he was talking about going into parallel modes, borrowing the chords from these parallel modes. Well, how do you find these parallel modes without thinking modally and getting confused with modes in the way? Okay, so let's say our C major scale, we know C Ionian, D Dorian, we just went over that. The next one down here, I've got C under the Dorian. You'd start your C, your scale will start here, C Dorian, okay? But what is C Dorian? C Dorian is actually, there's a note still on the Ionian, and the Ionian is always going to be your parent scale. I'll put a little arrow there. It's always going to list your parent scale. So, like for example, here's D Dorian, here's F Lydian, here's G Mixolydian. However, this is all the C major parent scale. Where that arrow is the parent scale. So that's all I need to know. When I want to play in any of these modes, play the parent scale as my solo note choices, and make sure one of these chords is ringing out to emphasize that modal sound. Try it for yourself. You'll hear it happen. Even with just that note, not even the chord ringing out, just have that bass note droning from a keyboard or a loop pedal while you play the C major scale, and you'll hear the tonality of all the exact same notes change a different flavor to emphasize that particular modal sound. It's kind of neat and fun. If it sounds crazy, well, that's the craziness of music that you like. Anyways, so here we have the parent scales. So if we had, when he was saying, you want to borrow some from C Dorian, which I think he used and was he had a couple great chords in the mix there. Well, that is he's getting those. All you would really need to know is the A sharp, B flat. Sorry, my squares are a little small here. I think I got, seems like this is 5/5 ruled, not 4/4. And the squares are these the same? Yeah, I guess they are the same. Anyways, I think I got, let's see, hold on a second, even though I don't have time to do this, let me see, 5/5 ruled. Yeah, I guess that's the same. Oh, you know what? Yeah, I want 5/5 for 4/4. Well, That just piqued my curiosity, but I gotta look at that some other time. Anyways, why the boxes are so damn small here and hard to write in. Anyways, so sorry if you can't see all this jazz, but write this down for yourself. Copy this, pause the video, write this chart down for yourself, and you'll have this forever. If you wanted to borrow chords from the C Phrygian mode, here's C Phrygian. You would really just have to know the G sharp scale and the A flat, G sharp, A flat. When you see this line through here, that's a sharp flat note, and then, you know, obviously you'll just write a regular note when it's just a regular note. So C Phrygian, and it stands to reason. It's kind of, you know, Phrygian's always at, it's a really intense minor scale, and more tension than Aeolian. And look at that, you know, it's kind of on a sharp flat key there. And I'm going to tell you about this too. Really quick, I'll just say it only shares 3 notes. We'll talk about that in a second. So going down the list here, Mixolydian is G. Sorry, Lydian. My bad. I'm looking at the M at the top for major. Lydian is G. Mixolydian, or C. Mixolydian is going to be the F. And the Aeolian, you want a C Aeolian. So you'd put C, you'd be using C from here, like, you know, at, how am I trying to say this? C Aeolian as opposed to from C Ionian. Anyways, C Aeolian, you're going to make this the 6th note of a scale. This is going to be the C note. So what's the 6th note of the scale when you go backwards? It's D. D, E, F, G. Now look at that. I fucked up. It's not D. Because the scale doesn't work. D, E, F. So glad we caught that right instead of you guys in the comments. I was kind of bummed about that when I'm sitting here talking and I don't catch a mistake I make. But anyway, so we're going to rewrite that as E flat and D sharp. I need a sharper point there to make it all a little clear for you guys. So, but I think you guys can write that in there and understand what's going on. Anyways, D sharp, E flat, E, F. You know, the sharp and flat G, the sharp and flat A, sharp and flat B, and then right up to C, because obviously that's, you know, you should know the basics of your scale. That's how it works. B and C, E and F always together. So I'm sure you got it by now. C Locrian, you're probably not ever going to use it, but if you did and you wanted to know about it, C is way over here. Dial it back. You have E sharp, D flat scale. E sharp, D flat, D, E, F, G, A, B, and C. So this would be the parent scale. So line up your graph paper method scale, your magic box, on this note, and you'll have this scale. And then you can derive all the chords out of this scale, which are right here. Now, granted, the actual scales are not correct here. I just use these in-between notes to trace myself back to get this line filled up. The actual note here would be, like, let's say this one, for example. We'd have E sharp, D flat. Our next note would be actually D sharp, E flat. What did I say here? Yeah, E sharp, D flat, D sharp, E flat. Then we'd have an F. Then we would have an F sharp, G flat. So it would be G flat since we already have an F listed. And we'd have a sharp and flat there and a sharp and flat there. Those would be the actual notes of the chord, of the key. Sorry, notes of the key. So like I said, don't mind these gut scribbling. That's why I wrote them really light. I was just trying to make this list get back here. So finally, this listing here, we're going to have, I guess I can still keep this 4 right there. Now, I wrote some numbers here, and here's a neat thing about these numbers. These numbers indicate just how strongly outside the key or how accessible that borrowed chord is going to be. For example, these two keys share 6 notes with your original C. Let's say you chose your original key, whatever it was. In this example, it's C. You can put any original key there, and then create this chart from that original key to show all your parallel modes. That's like one of the reasons I'm showing you this, because it's not just static here. This works, and there's 12 different charts for the 12 different keys. So anyways, And you can make those all yourself. For example, this one shares 6 notes. So it shares so many notes, you're not going to notice that this chord is outside as much. And you're going to find a lot of borrowed chords in popular music from this group right here because it tends to work really seamlessly in the progression. Now we want to move a little bit farther away, have a chord that kind of jumps out at you a little bit more, but then pulls right back into the original key. You're going to go for 5, and there you go. You got your choice here. If you want to go stronger, pull from the 4. You want to have a really outside one. It's going to be the one that shares 3 notes, and then from here, which you're probably not going to choose, this key only shares 2 notes. This is going to be like completely. It's probably pretty hard to make sound correct, especially with your melody line. Now, though, here's the secret, though. All these numbers, like I said, are borrowed. Not borrowed, they're overlapping notes. This means that for example, C Dorian scale shares 5 notes with the C major scale. This does not say which notes it shares, but you can figure all that out once you start playing both scales on your guitar or a piano, and you can see, especially piano, will really quickly show which exact notes are the overlapping notes. So your solo or your melody line can pull, or your vocal melody can pull from those 5 notes over the changed chord and still sound like it's in key. If you use these 3 notes, a note pulled from C Phrygian will sound, your melody line will work right over that if you choose the right 3 notes at that moment in your solo or your vocal melody. Kind of cool, right? So that's all I'm going to leave you with today. I can ramble on about it more, but that's pretty much the gist of the point. If you have any questions or comments about this video, leave them down below. I got to run off to work. And speaking of work, I got to go clean some drywall tools today as we mud up a wall. I'm doing construction, and that tends to cut my fingers, so I can't play guitar. And so if you would rather see me not cutting my fingers and too tired to make videos, and you'd rather see more videos from this channel, think about 50 cents, think about $1, think about a donation to the channel, because every little bit helps to get me to my computer making more videos, getting new equipment, making this happen, because it takes time, and time is money, and all that jazz. So much appreciation to the people who watched today. I hope you have a great day. I haven't checked the comments to see if anyone's here. No one's here. I'm checking now. So here's to a 20-minute video as a 18:05, as we said. All right. Have a great day. Thanks for watching, and stay cool.